Alright, let's do this. Exposure is bright in the middle. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've been really struggling with my content on my personal channel. There are multiple reasons to that. I think we're doing an amazing job with Bluu Media House. Indy, our creative director, is doing an amazing job of taking over and how we are perceived and how we look online. Now for my personal brand, that's where I kind of was struggling, and it stems from a few things. I would love to hear what you guys think, but one of the main things is when I start doing educational content, even after 10 years of doing content, I still have imposter syndrome. And even though I've been walking the walk and doing the work for the past 10 years, I still feel like, who am I to give my audience any sort of advice? I truly was not able to pinpoint why I was not feeling comfortable and not feeling as confident and as excited. I really struggled with actually creating the content because I always would feel like, well, who am I to give you and give my audience any sort of advice? What have I done realistically meaningful enough to tell someone what they should do? So I started pivoting. I was, well, I'm not going to tell people what to do. I don't like telling people what to do. I don't micromanage my own team, and I don't know why I would do that with my audience. So I started something new this year, I would say, which is more sharing my experience about how can I help my audience, sharing my experience of what I'm doing. Sharing, okay, this is what I'm doing. That's what's working. That's what's not working for me. And sharing it, putting it out there. And that's why I would love to hear your thoughts. What you guys want to see? What do you guys want to hear? I was born in France. I grew up in France. I did engineering studies. I did a master's degree in business and supply chain, and eventually worked for an aircraft engine company for about 4 years before realizing it was not for me. Quit my job, quit everything, but one way ticket to the farthest country I could find, which was Australia. Landed in Perth, which is on the west coast of Australia. Bought a 4-wheel drive, started traveling, got a job in the farm, made a video of my experience working as a cowboy, basically. From there, made a video about my experience. That video took off on YouTube. It was my first video on YouTube that actually got 10,000 views. All my other videos before that, they would get a few hundred views, and that one got 10,000 views within a couple of weeks, which was mental. And that's where I decided to, okay, well, that's definitely a sign. I got a job to film a wedding without even looking for it. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to do videos. And 2016 at the time was the time where everything, like social media was taking off, videos were taking off, mostly because internet got fast enough and mobiles got powerful enough to be able to handle video. And so you could post, that was the age of Vine still, and you could start doing videos on Instagram. They were like a maximum 4x5 videos. Reels were not even a thing. Stories only came later. So it was very early on. Eventually, from there, I built my website, I was working at the library every single day because I could get fast internet. It's free. You can get a desk as well. Work as much as I could during working hours, and I was staying at the backpackers, sharing my room with 8 other people on bunk beds, trying to earn no money. After a year, I founded a small company which was called Cactus Juice. After a few months of doing that, I was making money, but it was still very hard, and I got offered a job in a luxury real estate agency in Brisbane. And that's where I think I learned the most about business, and that was an amazing experience because someone was willing to give me a chance working full-time. And I was working, when I said full-time, that was not just 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday. I was working weekends as well, working my ass off, making videos. Literally, we would film the house in the afternoon. I would edit the video the next morning, post it, filming the next house, and so on day after day. And I couldn't get late on anything, so I had to, because otherwise, if I would miss one post, I have to do twice as much work the next day because I would have 2 properties. And so in the span of 6 months, I filmed over 100 properties, which gave me so much experience. I had to learn to edit super fast, first of all. I had to learn how to apply processes and systems so that everything was easy and I would move forward. And we would be making the best videos in Brisbane in real estate at the time. When I left the job after 6 months, they had to replace me with 3 people. And I think that's where I realized that I understood something that some others didn't, and I was willing to put on the work. Eventually, I founded my first business co-partnership with someone else, which didn't work. I had no idea to set up a business, and we did a 50-50 partnership, even though my business partner at the time is probably the most talented filmmaker I've ever known. And still to this day, I haven't met anyone who's got the eye that he has and the quality of work that he would put on. But still 50-50. The issue was the structure and the way we were working created and built tension, unfortunately, and doing it this way, but I didn't know better. And that's part of the learning process, I would say. So we parted ways, and that's where after a few months, I founded Bluu Media House. What I did at the beginning, I was just a glorified filmmaker, freelancer, doing exactly the same thing that I would do as a freelancer, but calling myself a video production company. Eventually, just before COVID, the business was growing as we were getting busier. I got my first editor, which was amazing. And eventually COVID happened, and that's where everything fell apart. Unfortunately, all the jobs got cancelled. If you remember, it was a very hard time here in Australia where they had locked down everything. We couldn't work basically. So I had to let go of my editor. The business took a massive hit in terms of growth. Eventually, after grinding for over 3 years, I shifted the model. We started doing one-off projects, and that's where Bluu Media became an agency, a content agency more than anything else. And that's where things really took off. So in 2023, my back was against the wall. I was in a position where my bank account was empty after a series of mistakes, I would say. That's where I decided to start educating myself, not just in business, but actually following a coach and getting a mentor. And basically like spending and just investing into that mentor every single bit of money I had left. And I was in a point where basically the fee for that mentor was around $2,500 a month. If things didn't work out, well, I would not have enough money to pay the second and third month, and that was a 6 months contract. Basically, I had no other option but to make it work. That's where we changed. Like the biggest shift that we did at this stage was shifting from one-off projects going on to choosing like retainer projects. So basically becoming a partner with our clients where we just were not doing videos, but we would increase a lot the amount of service and the value that we would provide. So one thing that I realized being a filmmaker over time is that people come to you, they've got cool ideas, and they want you to do that very cool video, right? I'm sure you've heard that if you're a filmmaker or if you're a business owner, that's what you would think, that you would get to a filmmaker and just say, well, I've got that good idea, we put some money behind it, to share quite a bit of money and hope for the best. The thing is, after doing that at the time for over 5 to 6 years, I realized that, well, a lot of the times the business owners were coming to me, they didn't know much about marketing and they were just seeing some videos and they were like, oh, everyone's doing video, I should do the same, and they would just copy and paste. Someone has a strategy to make a big video and for the best that this video would go viral and would make them money. Well, the truth is, this is not how social media works. That's not how content works. And if you put all your money behind a single video, statistically, you've got less chance to be successful. But if you, like most of the times, the business owners and people coming to me, they were coming and I would just take on the jobs and say, yes, we would do the video and eventually we would make the video, make the best video possible. The video would get posted by the client. I would send it to them and then I would not even be involved into the result because, well, they didn't pay me for that. They paid me for the video. And a lot of the times, always, but a lot of the times the video would fail doing it, that it would not work, that you could not be a good idea, but I'll be like, well, yes, actually, if you want to do it, I'll just do it. And I didn't realize at the beginning, but it was the worst way to run the business because clients would not come back because, well, video doesn't work. That's what they would say. They would post the video, they would not get any result, and eventually they don't come back because, yes, video doesn't work. And of course, it was not going to work because that single video was not the right thing to do at the time. That became very frustrating because I do care about the success of my clients. I do care about them being, getting results from the video. The main issue that I had is I would feel bad. And I think that's because I care and I care so much about purpose. I hate doing things without purpose, that I hate doing things that are meaningless. I hate working for nothing. And that started really bothering me that I would make those pretty cool videos and they would be nothing. And that's where I realized when I shifted to the agency that, well, I could not only come and make those videos, which is what I love, which is my passion, eventually becoming more of on top of that, an advisor, a strategist. And having that now that confidence that obviously I built over the years, doing this, knowing that I've done so many videos, knowing that I knew better, coming to the clients when they would come to me and say, well, listen, that's maybe not the best idea. Why don't we do it this way? Because I've seen it working over and over, working, with hundreds, if not thousands of projects. That I didn't know, but as a lot of, because once you can prove that you are correct and you've got a very good idea of what is better, and you can convince the client to follow your advice and that you succeed and that they get massive results, your expertise, that's where you can actually provide a lot of value. And that value, obviously, the client will reward you. The client will appreciate that. They will trust you and they will more inclined to pay you a lot more and keep you for longer. So that's why we shifted the whole business. Mid-2023, we went okay, we are going to package, we are going to productize our service, we are going to create our unique mechanism. One of the most important things out there, I think, is that I didn't want to copy and paste what everyone else is doing because otherwise you just become a commodity. And that's something that's really big in me because I always thought and I always ran my business this way where I put potentially very likely was the most expensive freelancer in my category out there. And I would tell my clients, hey, you know what? If you go with me, I'm probably not the cheapest. I'm for sure going to do the best work I can. That is the difference between being a commodity, being someone that people are going to pay. Because in the end, you have to think the two questions that a prospect is going to ask before working with you is like, why should I trust you in the first place? Why should I pick you over anybody else? If you can answer those questions, I think the proof, I think the trust, I think the backings when it comes to your experience, I think it's noticed that the more expensive the car, the shittiest they are that cars. So once you answer those two questions, basically differentiate yourself from a community. You're not just another filmmaker, you are a brand, and people would more likely going to go with you than with anybody else. They want to work with you because of your unique mechanism. No one else can copy that. Work with you because of you and your team, and that's what I'm very big on, having the best team in Australia for this job. Because when you go person in person with the client and you're working one-on-one and you're doing all that content, you need to have the best working in your business. That's what represents the brand. Anything else is a commodity. Anyone else can hold the camera. Now you can film everything on an iPhone. One film that I can sign out and then going sideways here. The only reason as of today, and I'm a big cinematographer, I love cinematography. If you tell me, like, if you give me a red camera with like anamorphic lenses, bro, I'm so happy. I love this. I love cinematography, but when I say this, as of today, in 2026, I could film on an iPhone and not having an stigma from the clients, I would do it. And I think we are getting closer and closer year by year, just because it doesn't make any sense from a business perspective. As of today, I sold all my red cameras, I sold all the cinema lenses, I sold everything I could, I sold all the expensive equipment, and we're filming only with Sony cameras that are doing an amazing job. And that's something I think the iPhones and, in terms of visuals, are not able to get there yet. I don't want the look of any lens. Like, for example, the look I get of this camera, it's a Sony A7C II with a 24mm 1.4. The look I can get of this camera, I can't get the vibe, the feeling of the lens of an iPhone. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. To wrap this up, my biggest issue was that who am I to give my audience any sort of advice or telling them what to do? And I still struggle with that. And I think moving forward, I'm going to try to focus more on, being vulnerable, because that's a massive weakness. And I just admitting that I don't know what to do in content when I run a content agency that does content, and we should know exactly what we need to do for our clients to make them succeed. It's a bit absurd in the sense we do it for our clients, and I struggle to do it for myself. And that's the main reason I'm agreeing with this. I realized that doing lots of discovery calls, lots of sales calls with prospects, we get lots of calls. When I jump on those calls, and in the past I would get, all those coaches for coaches, or coaches for, helping raise and just be men and do that kind of things, and like, how to manage, how to get wealthy, but all that kind of thing. And I would struggle because when I would ask the questions during the discovery call, I be able to understand, what is the proof? What have you done realistically that's so big that now you can coach all those people? And in the end, I felt like they were, I don't know, you tell me if I'm wrong, but they were taking advantage of people who are a bit naive and were, a bit broken, and they are looking for help, and you've got a coach coming and saying they can help them when they've done nothing for themselves. And I realized, shit, I feel the same way. Who am I on social media to tell other people what to do when I don't think I'm proud of everything I've done? I'm very proud of where we are going and what we are doing with Bluu Media. And I'm someone who I consider myself as very successful. I live in the best place in the world. I work with an amazing team. I've got an amazing wife and kids, but still I still have the imposter syndrome. And I think that's the vulnerability that I wanted to share with you guys. If you really look into it, and best examples I can give you is that if you look at Alex Hormozi, like, everyone is copying him on social media. Everyone wants to teach business like Alex. We want the same captions that Alex. We want to look like Alex Hormozi. Think about it this way. Alex Hormozi only took off after he made a shitload of money, after he was extremely successful in business. He didn't just start documenting everything and posting and going viral and going massive like he is today when he had nothing, when he was sleeping on a gym floor. Only took off when he had already multi, 7 figures, if not more, was extremely successful. So he has done something massive, and that's why people trust him. That's why people listen to him. That's why he's got so much trust and such a massive audience, it's because he's built the proof before he has even done anything. Yeah, he has even shared anything, I think. So now people listen to it. And like when everyone is trying to copy, myself included, what have I done from a business perspective? So the only thing I can share is what I'm doing on a daily basis. And I think moving forward, that's what I'm going to share the most. I don't even know that video is going to come out, how much I'm going to crop and cut out of it. Could be a long form YouTube video as well. I'm going to check out there. Free, you can't hear that, that's the part. Moving forward, I think the best way for me with content is going to be sharing more of like the day-to-day running an agency and trying to grow an agency to the next level, trying to build the best content agency in Australia and sharing the wins, sharing the L's. I'm doing so much every single day. I think there's some very cool stuff that I'm doing. There's some boring stuff, and that's going to be sharing how I'm using AI at the moment, because AI is getting massive. Like a lot of the things that are happening in that I wanted to invest on. Now you can build it with AI for a fraction of the cost. I'm using Claude a lot. And you know what? Like AI, that's crazy. That's insane to think about that. I've got Claude Co-Web working on my computer, on my business Google Drive at the moment, organizing files, creating documents, and basically what it's doing, it's taking all my sales calls from the past 3.5 years, putting them into another document, renaming everything, creating a database out of it. But that's insane to think about that, because in the past alone would have taken me a day just to structure the whole thing, and now it's working while I'm driving here and making content. And that's why it's mental, and I'd love to share more of this if that's something that you guys think is interesting. How I do it, the technicalities, some more nerdy stuff. A massive portion of Bluu Media House, fully automated, Zapier and Make automation running 24/7, basically doing a lot of the heavy lifting, a lot of the repetitive tasks, a lot of the work is completely done. Automations by SAPs and combination of AI and automations, and now Claude co-work and a bit of Claude and the coffee. And I'm not technical when it comes to code. I'm going to stop now. For now, I think I've been rambling for 20 minutes and hopefully got somebody or got an insight of how I'm thinking about running an agency, having a team, where we are right now, where we are going, where I'm right now with my mindset around content, and saying, like, just sharing with you that don't have everything now. I've got lots of things that I need to work on. I've got so many things that I want to share, but I don't know if it's interesting. I don't know if I'm the right person to share anything. Who's going to listen to me anyway? I do believe though that the future with AI is going to be around people. People will buy from people, and that's going to be the ultimate source of trust. And the AI, if everything goes well, if AI doesn't kill us, it doesn't destroy us, in the end it will be working with us like co-work is right now working with us, like robots will help us in our day-to-day tasks. And so hopefully that was valuable. If you have any question, if you want to engage in the conversation, feel free to leave a comment below. Leave a thumb up if you enjoyed the video. More videos I tried. If people engage with this, I'll definitely do more. And that's the thing. I really want to listen to my audience, seeing what you guys want, what are the questions, how can I provide any value? Should I just share? Let me know. Love you all. See ya. Peace.